You could spend months during posture correction exercises and never fix your posture. Or you could give kettlebells a try and let it fix itself as a side effect. I know which one worked for me, and here is why kettlebells do what everything else doesn't. To frame this, I didn't start training with kettlebells to fix my posture. I wasn't even thinking about my posture. I started because I wanted to get stronger in less time with less equipment and without spending an hour driving to the gym. I have been training for some time, knew how to move and had a decent posture before kettlebells. But the moment kettlebells became a central part to my training, I noticed something shift. Not in a dramatic way, rather gradually, almost without realizing it. Until one day around mid-circuit, I noticed I wasn't working to stay upright anymore. It was just happening. At that moment, I knew my posterior chain had become something else. Most men, and probably you, face the same problem. Nowadays, it's common to sit at a desk for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And that leads you to a posterior chain that is asleep. And I know this because I am one of them. First as an iOS developer, and now even more that I am running my own stuff. It doesn't mean that your posterior chain is weak. It's asleep, like switch off. The hip flexors are shortened, the thoracic spine rounds forward, the chest tightens, and you slowly start collapsing inward. This is something you don't notice at first because it happens gradually over time. You can stretch, you can foam roll, you can do postural correction exercises. Some of that helps, but you are treating the symptom, not the problem, not building the structure. So you're probably asking, then how could I build the structure? The answer lies on kettlebells, my friend. And they do it without you even think about your posture. Here's the thing about almost every kettlebell exercises. You cannot cheat them with bad posture. So what do I mean? For example, with a barbell, you can round your back on a deadlift. Terrible idea, please don't do that. But what I mean is that the bar won't resist you. But with a kettlebell, the movement itself forces you to stay upright or you won't be able to do it. The load teaches you every single rep. That's the core insight. You are not doing postural work, you are doing strength work. The posture is just the byproduct. So, too much talking. Let's ground this. Let's go through how this actually works movement by movement. For example, the swing and its variants. Every swing is a hip hinge under a load. That means you are training your glutes, hamstrings, your entire posterior chain to fire explosively and then decelerate. Do this for months at volume, and those muscles will stop being the passengers and they will become your armor. The things that holds you up all day. Other one, the clean. This one is underrated for posture. When you catch the bell in the rack position, if your upper back is weak, if your lats aren't engaged, the weight will pull you forward. It exposes you immediately, so your body has to adapt. And over time, your upper back gets strong enough to hold the rack without fighting it. That strength shows you up in how you stand even when you aren't holding anything. By the way, for those who doesn't know what a rack position is, it is when the bell is resting at your chest and your elbow is stuck. Then we have the snatch. The snatch ends with the bell locked out over your head. In order for you to get there and hold it safely, you need full shoulder mobility, a braced core, and a spine that can handle the load overhead, and this movement forces mobility and stability at the same time. It is rare to find an exercise that does both. This is such a great exercise. Now, the goblet squat and the front squat. Same principle here. The load is in front of your center of gravity. If you collapse forward, the squat falls apart. That's it. The press. There is no way on earth you can press efficiently with a rounded upper back. The shoulder mechanics simply won't allow it. So, you learn through repetition. To brace, to open your chest, to press from a stable platform. Again, the posture is the prerequisite, not the goal. To finish, we have rows and pull-ups. These are the direct posterior chain and upper back work. Rows build the retractors, the muscles that pulls your shoulder blades back and together, and the pull-ups that builds the lats. Pro tip here. This is something really weird to hear, and I have consumed an embarrassing amount of content on training. A lot of the kyphotic rounder posture, the forward hunch, come from a shortened chest as a byproduct of a poor range of motion on horizontal pushing exercises. So, for example, take your push-ups. Take them to a complete dead and let your chest to fully stretch at the bottom. You shouldn't be just training your chest concentrically, you should load it eccentrically in a lentic position. Plus, that's actually where the most hypertrophy happens. And as a bonus, you get stronger through the full range of motion. This simple change in how you execute an exercise you are already doing will lead you to more strength and a better posture. In my case, I trained with barbells for years. I knew how to do a deadlift and my posterior chain wasn't weak. But when I started programming kettlebells as my primary tool over and over for months, I noticed the difference. The low back tightness I used to get after heavy barbell sessions was gone. My posture went from decent to something I noticed other people start noticing. The same happens to my partner. She trains with me and she went through the same change. We both came from a similar training backgrounds, we both felt the same thing and roughly at the same time. Her posture changed, my posture changed, and neither of us was trying to change our posture. That's the point. We weren't doing postural work, we were training like athletes. The posture was just the side effect. Now I am upright all the time, in the chair, walking, standing in a conversation. I don't have to think about it. My posterior chain holds me there. And listen up, here's where it gets interesting. Because posture is just only the beginning of what changes. When your spine is upright, your shoulder sits back naturally, your chest opens, and you, my dear friend, you start taking the space differently. When you walk into a room, something is different. You start giving a more solid impression of you. And people react to it before you even say the word. In the next video, I'm going to break down exactly what creates that. Posture is part of it, but there is also the way you hold your gaze, the tempo at which you speak, the way you move through space. These things together determine your status in any room you walk into. And James Bond is the clearest example. If that's something you want to understand, subscribe, that video is coming. If you are training at all, even occasionally, add kettlebells. Start simple with swings and then learn the clean. And stay for long enough to feel when the adaptations kicks in. You won't be training to fix your posture. You will be building an armor for your body. If this was useful, check out my latest video over here. Subscribe and leave a comment. And tell me, are you already training with kettlebells or this is something new for you? Thank you so much for watching and see you soon.